One of the most important events in the history of Boston was the famine in Ireland. Very shortly after they arrived, they raised $1.5 million to put up what was then the largest Catholic cathedral in the United States. It had been so long since attention had been given to the cathedral, we realized that an awful lot of the infrastructure needed to be shored up, and at the same time, we wanted to make it a restoration.
You look at the condition of the cathedral when we arrived. Inside was kind of dark, and the lighting was functional, but not 100%. It just looked like it was ready to pop. The challenge at first was, how do you bring it to life?
We knew that we couldn't have mistakes here. When you're installing scaffolding up against stained glass, irreplaceable objects and artifacts, you can't have a mishap, you can't have a mistake, and you got to get the angles right.
There was a sense that you were someplace very special, and everybody stepped up and recognized that this isn't something you get to do every day.
My favorite has got to be the wood trusses in the ceiling. They are functional and yet so decorative. I think there's so much care in the design of this church. You feel elevated. It doesn't have anything to do with your position in society or race. And I think that's important to take away and bring to all of our other projects.
Every time we saw Cardinal O'Malley, he reminded us that the cathedral is 150 years old, and what we are doing is restoring it for the next 100 years.
If we had not done this renovation, we would have had to walk away from the building because it was very, very compromised.
This was a labor of love. This is a project that we'll remember forever.
My mother is a devout Catholic, and just to see the look on her face when she opened the doors to see what we've been working on for 12 months, that was probably most inspiring.
One woman said to me, "Father, I've often prayed that they would send someone here who would take care of this cathedral." When it opened, she was thrilled.
It's an anchor in the neighborhood, an anchor in the city. Especially today when we have to find solutions to issues about systemic racism in this country, to social injustice and lack of equity and inclusion in this country. I think the solutions will come from places like this.
The church is much brighter now. That makes you feel closer to the people when you can see them and they can see you. And now it's our responsibility to pass it on to future generations. It's always been a church of immigrants. Today, the largest immigrant population here are the Spanish-speaking, but we also have an Ethiopian community and an Eritrean community. The church is a church of immigrants, and Boston is a city that has always had so much vibrancy because of people coming from all over the world to make this their home.